One random sneeze and I lifted every girl's skirt in the whole city. I flicked a booger and somehow wiped out an entire kingdom. All because I bought a used glass tank that had a tiny civilization inside. What I thought were ants crawling all over it. Yeah, those were actual people. And me? They worshipped me as their god. Right now, tens of thousands of tiny people were kneeling at an altar, praying to the sky. The emperor raised both hands and cried out, "Heaven above, 3 years of drought! Please bring your blessings down. Stop making my people suffer." His tiny, desperate voice somehow made it to my ears. I was literally eating breakfast, so I pinched off a cracker crumb and dropped it in. Then I grabbed my magnifying glass to see how they'd react. Inside the mud-built Dakian Imperial City, Emperor Zhao Xuan was kneeling there, hollow-eyed. Then the sky went dark. He looked up, confused. 2 massive pillars parted the clouds, and something slammed down from above. The ground shook right next to the altar, and the whole capital rocked. Before anyone could process it, an irresistible smell swept through the entire city. A starving soldier hacked off a chunk with his sword and swallowed it whole. "Your Majesty, this is food! It's incredible, and I feel like I could fight an army!" Zhao Xuan threw all his royal dignity out the window and dove straight for the crumbs. "Divine food from the heavens! The true god has appeared!" Zhao Xuan dropped to his knees, announced his name, and kowtowed over and over. The entire population saw this and started bowing like crazy. That's when a cold robotic voice popped up in my head. Creator system binding complete. Host identity, god of heaven. Duty, protect and guide the Dakian dynasty. Divine favor points can be redeemed for blueprints and skills. Dakian's fate is critical. I stared at the half cracker still in my hand, and I couldn't stop smiling. $50 for a tank and I accidentally became a god. They were only eating dry food, so I poured a bottle cap of mineral water into a dried up riverbed. Meanwhile, the Dakian people were still scrambling over that cracker. Then someone pointed up and screamed, "The heavens are sending water!" A massive red disc appeared in the sky and a crystal clear waterfall poured down from above. The river filled up in seconds, and everyone rushed in to drink. For people who'd only ever tasted bitter well water, this was basically heaven's nectar. Zhao Xuan cupped the sweet water in his hands and shouted, "God hasn't abandoned Dakian!" The system chimed again. Subject loyalty increased. Divine favor PAW 500. I was feeling pretty good checking the system shop, until smoke signals rose inside the tank. I pressed my face to the glass, and a massive dark army was marching straight toward Dakian. They rode beasts the size of fleas, and every village they passed through was wiped out. I looked toward the capital. A general was already on his knees before Zhao Xuan. "Your Majesty, 30,000 Wolf Tribe cavalry have broken through the border. They're at our gates." The people who'd just been celebrating were now crushed with despair. The Wolf Riders were ruthless. If they breached the walls, it'd be a massacre. Zhao Xuan gritted his teeth and ordered, "Every soldier holds the capital, to the last man." The wolf army reached the walls and the Khan grinned as he called for the slaughter to begin. I grabbed my tweezers and smirked. "You're really gonna mess with my people?" I slammed the tweezers down and the ground split open into a massive trench. Countless wolf soldiers fell in, and within seconds, half of the 30,000 were gone. The Khan stared up in horror. "What in the world is that thing?" Up on the wall, Zhao Xuan stood frozen. "This is divine punishment from the god of heaven." He raised his sword with fire in his eyes. "God is with us. Charge out and fight." The fully hyped Dakian army stormed out of the gates and cut down what was left of the enemy. After the victory, the system pinged. Divine favor plus 2,000. Reward, Zhuge repeating crossbow blueprint. Use on Zhao Xuan? I hit confirm without hesitating. A flash of light shot straight into Zhao Xuan's mind. With the knowledge downloaded, Zhao Xuan led everyone in bowing to give thanks. I nodded with satisfaction. This was just the beginning. A whole month passed in Dakian. For me, it was barely a few hours. But for those tiny people inside, that month was nothing short of a miracle age. I spent 2,000 points on blueprints for water wheels and fertilizer. I also broke a single grain of rice into tiny pieces and planted them as sacred seeds. To the Dakian people, those were divine seeds bigger than millstones. The barren land outside the capital came back to life, and word of a god's blessing spread everywhere. But the 3 warlord factions, instead of pledging loyalty, launched a full rebellion. They called it slaying evil and seized the 3 richest provinces in the south. They even put up signs on the walls of Linjiang City written in blood, mocking the god. Inside Linjiang City, the rebel leader was kicking back, drinking wine with his concubine. "What god of heaven? If he's got guts, let him come tear down my city." I let out a cold laugh. This clown was actually coming for me. I dug out some old glass marbles and took aim straight at the city gate. One flick punched clean through the gate and took out a whole crowd of rebels. The rebel leader nearly jumped out of his skin and scrambled out into the courtyard. "What was that? Is there actually divine lightning?" I just chuckled. "Oh, we're just getting started, buddy." I fired off marble after marble, and the city walls crumbled to dust. The shockwaves flattened everything around it, and Linjiang City was rubble in no time. Zhao Xuan watched from a distance and kowtowed so hard he could have drilled a hole in the floor. The system chimed. Host's divine power has helped Dakian achieve total unification. Reward, divine favor, buy 8,000. Unlocked, iron smelting blueprints and black powder formula. I picked up my marbles and smirked. The age of cold steel is officially over. After crushing the 3 factions, Dakian entered a golden age unlike anything before. With iron smelting and gunpowder in play, the first cannons were rolled onto the city walls. Dakian officially stepped into the age of firearms, and I knew power was about to get complicated. One day, bored out of my mind, I grabbed my magnifying glass and scoped out the tank.